Rivers, a path taken by flowing water. Human civilizations began near rivers. Mankind settled on the land provided by the rivers and has lived by the rules of the rivers. Always generous to everyone at all times, rivers are not merely waterways, but the carriers of precious life and gift of nature. Let's listen to the stories of the SeomJin River, a benevolent and bountiful waterway that has flowed ceaselessly for eons.
So it's really, really quite beautiful here.
Yeah, this river is so beautiful, but it has a history. Even though it looks like a beautiful river, when the Korean War happened, this place was battleground. So many people got killed here. Yeah, it has a sad history there. Yeah.
It's like that so many places in the world where there's such great beauty, but there's so much sorrow and history behind it. So it's just another place like that.
Oh yeah. So we can take a trip along the riverside.
Great.
So we can meet people.
Explore and see.
Yes.
Fantastic. I am Ron Haviv. I'm a photographer from New York City. I'm a co-founder of the 7th Photo Agency, and I'm here in South Korea to learn a little bit more about this country. I've only been here once before, very briefly, and I'm very excited to explore the countryside of South Korea along the SeomJin River. I think that I'm going to be able to interact with people in a very special way and to learn about traditions and new modern living here in South Korea. So I'm hoping with my colleague Truth Lim we'll be able to really explore and learn a lot about the culture here.
Photographer Ron Haviv, co-founder of the world-famous photojournalism agency 7, and an unflinching record-keeper of conflicts and humanitarian crises around the globe. With a sense of lifelong calling to document history, he has witnessed the devastations of war, violence, and famine from up close and shared the sufferings of their victims. His images capture the slices of brutal and fierce lives in a quiet, earnest way, but at the same time, deliver messages of hope and humanism found inside the pain and sorrow.
I'm Truth Lim. I'm a photographer currently living in South Korea, Seoul. So I put myself behind the camera to communicate with people and to express myself. And I found myself capturing the moments of people. I spent the most of the time, my 20s in the States, living in outside of Seoul, outside of Korea. I'm really excited to explore the countryside of Korea, especially with Ron Haviv, whom I really admire. It's an honor for me to take a trip with him, share the story with him, and then listen his life along the river.
The two photographers started their journey by meeting a special person. They decided to visit a poet who sang of the meaning and beauty of the SeomJin River and asked him where they should be headed.
His poems are known all over the country?
Yeah, his poem, he's very well known. I think I studied his poem when I was in elementary school.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is his house?
Yeah, this is the poet's house. Let's meet him. 안녕하세요.
Hello.
안녕하세요. 김용택입니다.
Hey.
An honor to meet you.
반갑습니다.
Kim Yong-tak is widely known in Korea by his nickname, the SeomJin River Poet. He writes about his life along the river and the stories from small villages. Nearby mountains, fields, trees, and the river are all stars of his poems.
When he was younger, did he ever think that he would pretty much stay here, but his words would travel much farther than he would?
나는 그 초등학교, 중학교, 고등학교 다닐 때까지는 교과서 외에 책을 읽은 적이 없어요. 왜냐면 이건 우리 마을은 책을 읽는 사람이 없었어. 내가 자랄 때는. 선생하면서 책을 보기 시작했어요. 그래가지고 그때부터 책을 보다 보니까 생각이 많아서 글을 쓰게 된 게 시를 쓰게 된 거죠. 말하자면 시인이 돼야 되겠다라는 생각을 안 해봤어. 그냥 여기 살면서 책을 읽으니까 생각이 많이 나서 생각해보니까 이게 이 자연이 너무 아름답고 자연 속에 살고 있는 농사 짓는 사람들이 삶이 너무 아름답고 슬프고 애달픈 거지. 그런 이야기를 쓰다가 보니까 나도 모르게 이제 시인이 된 거죠. 하여튼 뭐 여기 사는 이 마을 이야기만 써도 평생 쓰고도 내가 모자라지.
The poet, born and raised here, had taught children at his own alma mater for 30 years before retiring. Since his retirement, he has published collections of poems set against the SeomJin River, such as You Are So Lovely, Longing for a Flower Letter, and The Poem Came to Me.
Well, this is of a poet, and after speaking with him for a while, you got a real sense of sort of his calmness and inner serenity and deepness. So I thought that this photograph had a sort of was representative of his personality. Well, it's true that when we spent probably an hour or so with him, he was always laughing and enjoying life very much. So this probably was a bit of a rare moment, and he was somebody who, without question, really loves life.
Have you seen the plum blossoms of the SeomJin River? The blossoms that fell into the river, for which the river grieves.
여기 강 건데 다 밭이었어. 물이 불잖아? 그 소도 이 강물을 건너오는 거야. 개도 강물을 건너. 사람들은 헤엄쳐서 건너.
제가 와본 곳 중에 제일 아름다운 것 같아요.
Does he know he's always laughing?
내가 많이 웃는다 그래 사람들이.
That's great.
정말 좋은 것 같아요.
아 그래?
The SeomJin River's upstream area is calm and shallow. It's not surprising that the river is easily accessible to anyone. You can only see when you go and seek, and you can only understand when you peer inside.
So you can see the snail?
Yeah, it's magnifier.
Is it magnifier on the bottom of the thing?
Yeah. So it's look at, try to find a snail to.
That's really funny. Well, this image is obviously from the SeomJin River, right by the poet's house. As I was leaving, a family came. It was kind of an interesting dynamic. Two parents with three young kids, and they came to look for snails. But this was visually, I liked the graphicness of this. I thought that it was dramatic and still said something about the river and how people use it.
When you walk along the SeomJin River, you come to a village called Imche. Koreans think of cheese when they hear the name Imche. By the 1990s, the cheese-making process had become an entertaining experience in Korea, and the little town began to see a steady flow of visitors. Cheese had made a small rural village come alive.
So, Ron, do you like cheese?
I do like cheese.
Oh yeah, this is land of cheese, and this is the first place where the Korean made a cheese. We can try, and
I hope so.
Let's try the cheese.
The history of cheese began in Korea when a Belgian priest brought 2 mountain goats to Imshil in 1966. The goats were to provide solutions to post-war poverty and hunger. Tourists follow a villager's instruction and learn how to make cheese. Children find all this process just amazing and fun. The Cheese Village allows visitors to make their own cheese. This do-it-yourself program makes children burst into peals of laughter.
근데 어디서 오셨어요? 저시랑 다 가족이세요? 같이 왔어요?
우리가 쌍둥이에요.
쌍둥이라서 그래요.
자매, 쌍둥이.
They are twins.
Twin sisters, yeah, I can see. So this is an image from the actual learning how to make cheese, and this was really, there was a whole room full of people learning the process of making cheese, and so this image is really just about the joy of this child, and they're stretching the cheese out, and just of this moment, and just kind of the happiness of the family being together.
A foreign priest may have first introduced cheese to Imshi, but it was the village residents who have preserved and developed it into a livelihood.
And this is his wife?
Or
부인 되시냐고.
Yes. 이리와봐 인사 좀 해요. 우리 집에 오셨으니까 외국에서 역시로 입고 오셨는데 아이고 허리가 아파갖고 꼬꼬에 쓰들보죠.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Pleasure.
고마워요.
Hi. How long have they been married?
결혼한 지
네, 얼마나
참
되셨어요?
64년.
64 years.
Wow. Wow. Amazing.
뜨거운 게 요리 좀 올라와요. 요리 좀 올라와.
His arched back and deeply lined face are like a record of time, showing how he has lived his life.
I'm just curious, like what his normal day is like.
오전 5시에 일어나고 7시에 식사하고 이제 요새는 허리 없게 쉬고 있는데 농사 질 때는 논에 가서 일하고 그렇게.
What does he grow?
밥맛이 제일 좋다는 신동진병.
예전에는 여기 치즈마을이 아니었잖아요.
아니지. 애당초는 느티나무가 많기 때문에 느티마을이라고 했다가 치즈가 워낙 유명하게 또 치즈마을로 하자고 치즈마을로 이름을 바꿨지. 아이고 크게 나왔어. 아이고 참 크게 나왔어. 참. 근데 지금 화면이 깨끗하게 좋구만.
And was the townspeople, were they very happy?
아주 좋아졌죠. 65세 이상 늙은이들은 경기 끄라고 했단 말이에요. 그게 일자리 창출을 우리 동네 자체적으로 상당히 많이 했어요.
So one of the things that I decided to do on this trip was to do a very specific type of portrait, very close, just with eyes, nose and mouth, just to get a sort of a different view, and have at the end hopefully a unified look of maybe 10 portraits of the different people that we encountered. And he was just very remarkable energy and spirit and health and kindness in a man 84 years old who I thought easily probably could have been in his 60s. So I really like this photograph just to sort of get an idea of him, but it's more about his skin and his expression.
Residents of the Cheese Village farm the land while working in the cheese business in one way or the other. Young people produce cheese, and old women sell pork cutlet with cheese at the village restaurant. Their small efforts make the village more prosperous and more energetic.
Great, thank you.
Have you ever tried
Tractors? Many times. Have you? First time? Oh,
Men older than 65 drive tractors to transport tourists. The tractors used mostly for farming are called limousines here. The cheese village is full of fun. Feeding milk to calves is a most popular activity for children. Ron, with eyes as big as the calves, enjoy the activity just like these children.
They're pretty well trained.
Yeah. She's angry. This cow licked the other cow's milk.
The cow's a survivor.
Yeah.
So,
what do you think about the revitalization of the town?
I think it's not a situation that's unique to South Korea. In America, we have the same thing. So in many places, the traditional way of living is dying. And so I think what they did here is brilliant. Not only for the local community, but they also created something that all of Korea can use. And I think that shows some incredible entrepreneurship by the people here.
Tradition is rapidly dying out. Everything is automated and mass-produced. But there is a couple who still insists on sticking to the old ways. A loud churning machine spews out endless strands of noodles. This couple has been making noodles the old-fashioned way for over 40 years in Imche.
I'm from New York.
뉴욕에서 왔어요. 미국. 네.
He probably would like to stop for a moment to welcome a guest from afar, but he can't stop the work once it started. That's because he is this factory's owner, supervisor, and the only employee, all rolled into one. Except for the old, clunky noodle-making machine, everything in the process requires human touch.
Has he changed his formula at all since he started?
No, he never changed the.
So it's the original? Wow.
네.
So if he could show us, like, I mean, do whatever he needs to do next?
독 있으면 안 돼?
네?
독이.
발에?
전화 와. 너만 치과마서 전화 와.
He's worried about our shoes.
No, we'll take the shoes off.
그러면 밀가루 발 끈적거린디?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
The noodles, made after a long, hard process, are naturally dried by the wind under the warm sun. At this time of the year, 3 days of drying would give you old-fashioned noodles with the right texture. Only after investing long hours, hard work, and great care can we see the traditional handmade noodles. Ron clicks away with his camera at the marvelous sight of the long strands of noodle made with culinary artistry, swaying in the warm afternoon sunlight.
So is he done for the day, or what does he do now?
그럼 일은 다 하신 거예요?
그래가지고
그러면은 9시부터 몇 시까지?
9시가 아니라 4시부터 4시.
새벽 4시부터?
4시부터 저 11시까지 일해요.
Very difficult life.
예.
힘들어서 뭐 어디 그냥 그만하려고.
아드님은 안 계세요? 따님이나?
물박두기 집에 하나 있는데 저기 일진댕인데 가는데
왜요?
힘든 게 일거리가 많고 직업이 완전히 내 처지는 돌아와서 좋는 것 같으면 내 처지는 돌아오도 않고 똑똑한 사람이 다 해버려.
He's last left?
Yeah, he's the last left.
Someday, these traditional noodles made with his special touch will be gone. Anything that is dying out has some sad beauty to it. In this noodle factory, Ron is fulfilling his duty as a photographer who has to record everything that is being forgotten and fading.
Oh, because you're a very good-looking man. No, you look good. Yeah. You look good, the noodles look good, everybody looks good together. So when she married him, he was already working here.
이 아빠 30살, 나 23살. 그리고 만나가지고 이제 결혼해서 지금 이분은 73, 나는 66. 예, 만 43년 됐어. 구수공에도 43년, 결혼도 43년.
구수가 출세했어.
This
나는 강화도는 못 가고 강화도까지 갔어.
Oh, the noodles get to travel.
Yeah, not him.
So this was really a lovely experience. I went to meet a husband and wife who'd been making noodles together probably 30 or 40 years. And it was visually very interesting because there were noodles everywhere, drying and being packaged. But it was also, it was a bit sad because their life is very difficult. They're not making a lot of money, but they're working almost 7 days a week. It's a very tough life, and their children don't want to take up the business. So probably at some point when they stop working, that will be the end of this factory.
It takes just 5 minutes of cooking in boiling water to ready the noodles made over a long, arduous process. Rinsing the noodles in cold water makes the texture even firmer. Add some flavorful anchovy stock, zucchini slices, and seasoned soy sauce, and there you have a bowl of cheap yet delicious noodle soup.
In Korea, when we have like big ceremony like a wedding, we eat noodle every, you know.
Because of the tradition of
Yeah, right. And also there's another story. If you eat noodle, because the noodle is quite long, right? You're gonna live long for a long time.
So the longer the noodle, the longer the life.
Yes, right. It's really nice. It tastes.
You
Yeah,
think this is
it tastes very
this
nice.
is totally fresh?
It's really fresh.
I got 0. These are harder chopsticks to use.
Yeah. Put here. I will give you tips.
Right?
I will give you tips. Use yeah.
Wow. Very long. I think I'm going
Yeah,
to
you're gonna live for a long time.
Well, this photograph I like, one, because of the colors. The blues are very rich, the shirt that she's wearing, also just catching that moment, frozen in time. Also, we had really great noodles here. This is where we ate the noodles from the place where we saw the noodles being made. So the subject was also important for me as well. But all in all, I mean, I really like the mood, primarily because of, you know, it's nighttime with just a little bit of light coming into the window, and then lit a little bit by fluorescent light inside, but still very, very rich in color.
Sometimes the old is more valuable than the new. So are the memories. The Samjingang River section of Goksang in the Jeonnam region. People who visit here can relive their memories interconnected with the river. The old Goksang train station, which was closed down to a new train station, was reborn as a place of memories and nostalgia.
You use the DSLR and iPhone at the same time, right?
Yeah, so I'm thinking with the iPhone, I'm thinking in black and white and square, which is a very different way of thinking with this, which is 35mm, and I'm looking more, obviously, with this camera, it's all about color.
Yes.
And with this camera, it's more about structure and lines and shadow and light. So after shooting so many years of 35mm, it's very refreshing to kind of see in a different way. So I kind of really enjoyed that whole experience.
Nice. I should try it.
You should try it.
I should try it.
On one side of the steam locomotive tracks is a beautiful sparkling river, and on the other, a quiet dirt road. Thankfully, these are some sights that have remained unchanged. A trip down memory lane gives Ron a chance to meet someone unusual. A man in a strange uniform is selling snacks in the aisle. One of the indispensable charms of train travel is the snack cart.
여기서 일하신 지는 얼마나 되셨어요?
11년 됐습니다.
And he likes the job?
지금 하시는 일 좋아하시냐고.
예. 만족합니다.
Yeah? I got that part, yeah.
프로 이어서
Oh, that's why you're wearing
그때
that.
당시 입었던 교련복, 고등학생 교련복.
Tell him it's amazing.
감사합니다.
Thank you very much. So this is from the last steam train that's working in South Korea, and I think it's another example, kind of the new using the old to keep the traditions going. So while it's no longer a train that functions as transport from town to town, it's part of a tourist complex. And so he's wearing this great uniform from the 1970s with the hat, and he's selling snacks, and in fact he's even selling ice cream that was very popular 20, 30 years ago. They have sort of retro activities within the town to see what it was like.
And they met someone with a heartwarming story.
Hello. Hi, do you speak English? I'm taking pictures of people on the train.
Yeah.
And we were wondering if this is your father?
Yes, yeah.
So, can I take a photograph?
Yeah.
Yeah? What did he say?
He's shy now. Why you kept taking photos?
Because he's so good, you're so good looking that I want to take many pictures.
잘생기셨다고. 오늘 여기 오신 이유는 따로 있으신 거예요?
전라도 분이신데 이제 젊었을 때는 이제 이란이라고 전라도를 이렇게 돌아보지 못해서 이제 나이가 있으시니까 그래도 이제 돌아가시기 전에 전라도 쪽을 다 한번 둘러보시고 보고 가시라고.
How beautiful. That's really lovely. Thanks, really nice.
People always long for their hometowns. This Goksang steam train reminds people of the time gone by and presents the unchanging sceneries of their hometowns. There are high-speed trains in Korea that can clock up to 350 kilometers an hour, but some people prefer to ride on a slow-moving steam train. Inside this train running along the riverside, tales from the slower days continue. Traveling is a series of pleasant surprises because of the encounters with delightful and good-hearted people who are in nature similar to the steam train. The train ride in the Goksang-Seomjingang River segment has ended, but Ron's curiosity about the steam locomotive and its engineer hasn't been satisfied yet.
You should tell them that, like, we only were 10 minutes with all the people, and everybody was so happy to be on the train. Yeah, that's really nice. So this is the engineer, the man who drives the train, and he was a professional engineer for many, many years. And once he retired, he started working driving the steam train. And I had asked him which did he prefer, and he said he most definitely prefers doing what he's doing now. He really enjoyed taking people around. He enjoyed seeing the interaction of the people and the place, and he of course enjoyed, driving an antique, what's now an antique train. I'm most impressed by the amount of families and young people going and school children going to different places and so on. And I thought that was a really strong show of strength for people wanting to know about their past. And I think that in a lot of ways these tourism places can help answer that question for people.
While working on his assignments in battlefields and places of conflict, he has seen countless rivers. After seeing so many rivers and meeting so many people living around them, he has discovered some commonalities.
So Riverside has always a history, like a battles, right?
Sure. I mean, I see it all the time in the work that I do where, well, one, rivers often are just a natural border dividing people. And water is always obviously a crucial resource.
Yes.
And we see that as we move forward in time, people will start fighting less about oil and other things and start fighting more about water.
Yes.
And also a river is access to the sea. A river can be accessed with transportation. Yes. It's an economic transportation mode. So rivers are incredibly important.
Yeah.
So it's nice when you have the ability to kind of see a place like this where it's really not so much at the moment connected to turmoil or politics, and it's just something that's very much being part of nature. But you know, it always occurs to me when witnessing these things about what role this river played in the history of Korea, and of course what other things that are going on today in other places in the world.
The SeomJin is a river that best embodies Korean sentiments and history. Perhaps that's because the river resembles Korean simple lifestyle based on agriculture. The Korean people's staple food is rice. Straw is what is left over from reaping rice. In the old days, the straws were twisted into strands and used in an assortment of household items. Ron and Truth met with straw craftsman Im Cheji, who makes straw handiwork. The artisan has been making items like straw shoes and bags for over 40 years, which leads him to be able to make just about anything he imagines with straw.
So how long will it take him to complete this whole piece?
손으로 일을 하기 때문에 시간이 많이 걸리고 날짜가 많이 걸려요. 그저 한 달이 걸려요. 하나 만들어내려면. 새롭게 한번 꽈보지. 새끼로 잘 거야. 이렇게 비벼 이렇게.
But it isn't easy for Ron to master the very basic step of twisting the straw into thin ropes.
꽈봐.
Okay, so, okay, great.
열어봐, 잡아, 이렇게 잡아. 아이, 손을 좀 옆으로.
Open your
Open my hands?
그렇지, 그렇게.
and then just shake it.
This guy's she's like, I have no future in this.
그렇지, 그렇게 오케이, 그래.
Okay, you try it.
새끼라고
I
그래요.
will try.
Here, let her try it.
그래, 이거.
Since you have the same name, you probably have it in your blood to do
그렇지,
it.
그렇게 또 잡아. 그렇게. 내가 힘이 들다 지금 거의 있어야지. 되어가.
How long did it take him to learn to do it when he was young?
그냥 사랑방 그 전에 사랑방에서 어른들이 많이 했어. 이제 그런 거 보고 듣고 그랬지.
그냥 자연스럽게 배우신 거예요.
그러냐.
Does he feel that Korean traditions are starting to disappear too quickly?
그래, 맞아. 그래, 정말 그래. 이런 것도 그래, 이런 것도 아니라고 나게. 그래, 우리 문화가 없어. 우리 문화가 살아야만 돼. 우리 문화가 전통 문화가 없어지게 생겼다는 게 다 악마.
Yeah, it's very important for countries to keep their traditions and to understand their culture. If the whole world becomes more and more alike, it will be a great loss for civilization.
Oh, yeah.
The small streams of the SeomJin River, originating in the mountain valleys, meander through Imsil and Gyeonsang to wind around the foot of Korea's famous Jirisan mountain. Situated deep in the mountain, Pyeagol Valley is a year-round scenic place featuring lush forests and clear sparkling water.
Wow. Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, but it has also sad story because it was battleground during Korean War.
You know, surprisingly, a lot of them look like this.
Really?
Yeah, you have these very beautiful places, whether in the mountains or in the desert or places where the beauty is so extreme, but also the violence and the horrors that occur there are similar.
Since Pyeagol Valley is hidden so deep in the mountain, communist partisans used it as their hideout during the Korean War. It's a place that evokes the painful memories of so many sacrifices. Ron and Truth met someone who had been a boy at the time of the war and could give vivid accounts of the past.
과거에 좀 이렇게 빨치산들도 이렇게 들어오고 그랬잖아요.
소가 그 공비들이 저녁에 내려올 때가 되면은 항시 울어요. 울면은 이제 나이 드신 할머니들이 저 소를 갖다가 잡아 먹어야 되겠다. 알고 보면은 그 공비들이 마을로 이제 내려온다고 가르쳐 주는 것인데. 그게 그때 권한데 이런 데를 갖다가 폭격을 하는 것이에요. 그 이런저런 하는데 폭격을 하면 옆에 사는 자 그 공비들 죽을 것이라고 폭격을 시켰는지 보면은 지금도 저 계곡 저 파이에 보면은 움푹 파이가 있어요. 폭격 때린 것이.
The valley is still scarred from the wounds of war, but the past has flowed by like the river water. Now, Piagol Valley is no longer a place of pain, but that of healing. Change is happening all around them. The chief of this village is a young woman in her 20s. Born and raised here, she has refused the conveniences of city life to preserve and develop her hometown.
그럼 여기서 태어나셨던 거예요?
네, 저는 여기서 태어났어요.
So she's known him her whole life, yeah?
그렇죠.
네. 할아버지는 여기 사셨고 저는 여기서 태어났으니까.
Why are you so passionate about being a civic leader here?
지금 와서 보셨지만은 너무 아름답잖아요. 이 피아골이라는 여기가 너무 아름답잖아요. 그래서 이런 부분을 가지고 이장 일을 하면서 사람들한테 많이 홍보도 하고 많이 보시더라고요.
So this is Kim Mi-seon. She's the head of her village, and her village has some tourism. It's right on the river, and I think that she is like an amazing example of the mixing of the new and the old. And I was really quite impressed with her energy, her spirit, but really most of all that by 28 she's done all these things and she's looking basically to do more. And I think with that kind of spirit and the citizenry of South Korea, this country has a great future. Hadong and the downstream Seomjin River is the last place to bid goodbye to the river before it flows out to the sea. At the place where the river ends and the sea begins, the river bottom is exposed at the ebb tide. In a small stream not far from here, Ron witnesses a sight he's never seen before. These men in diving suits are jumping into the water, each armed with only a single fishing pole. In their nimble hands are plump, sweet fish. Ron's camera keeps clicking away at the never-before-seen sight. These men are catching sweet fish with a timeless technique they learned from their parents. The sweet fish caught by these expert fishermen fetch high prices and are enjoyed raw or deep fried. It's pretty amazing what they're doing. It's really quite amazing. It looks like an incredible skill that they have, and it looks exhausting. Although he didn't yell out in excitement, he undoubtedly became thrilled when he spotted them.
Ron, be careful.
What?
Be careful. Be careful. 론 진짜 신나 보이지 않아요? 정말 지금 꽤 오래 걸어왔는데 론이 지치지도 않고 어떤 현장에 가서든 저런 식으로 했었겠구나라는 생각도 들고 저도 지금 약간 뭐랄까 되게 행복해 보이는데 물 만난 고기 같은 느낌도 들고.
Ron is completely absorbed in his work, not even minding his clothes getting wet. His passion to photograph the intensity of life is no different from the fisherman's struggle with the rough currents.
So this is a scene from the Sweet Fisherman, and it's really, I'd never seen anything like that. It was sort of like fly fishing, but with scuba gear going underwater, and so I think that this photograph just sort of shows the energy of them in the water and trying to work, and it was quite an interesting experience. And these guys were working in a rhythm, and it was important to understand that rhythm. So once I was able to do that, and it took a little bit of time, then I could start to anticipate their movements, and so simultaneously trying to make sure I don't fall into the river with all my cameras, but still being in the river and being able to work and photograph them doing what they were doing was something that was taking all my concentration.
The three fishermen have concluded their task, which appeared bizarre in Ron's eyes. Last night's rain has caused their catch to fall short of their expectations, but the fishermen are satisfied with the results. Ron peppers them with questions.
I'm still actually a little bit confused. How do they actually do it? Could you just demonstrate, like, how does he catch the fish? Wow.
Wow. That was amazing.
그 달리는 고기하고 이거 속도가 맞춰. 이게 이제 굉장히 빨리 고기 놀림을 이제 예상을 하고 앞에서 기다리면서 채는 거죠.
So how long does it take them to learn how to do this? It seems like a very difficult way to fish.
요 형님 같은 경우 한 30년 이상 되신 분이고 이 친구도 20년 이상 된 거고 제가 제일 작게 됐어요. 11년.
아, 그럼 배우시는 거는 얼마나?
그러니까 그 정도로 해야 조금 잡을 수 있어요. 위에 어른들부터 이렇게 내려온 거거든요. 이 얼굴 자체가 하계에서 만들어진 거고 어디 파는 게 아니고 우리가 만들어서 쓰는 거거든요. 그러니까 세계 어디에도 없어요. 이런 장비 이렇게 잡는 사람들이.
Like, how come they don't do that instead of this? Isn't that easier to sit on the bridge and just go?
이 기술은 더 필요한데 그 낚시는 기다려야 되고 시간하고 싸움이잖아요. 저희들은 들어가서 고기를 찾아가서 직접 빨리 잡으니까. 그러니까 그런 사람들은 하루 종일 잡아도 요만큼 못 잡잖아요. 근데 우리는 짧은 시간에 들어가서 이제 그분들보다 많이 잡지.
언제까지 하실 수 있을 것 같으세요? 계획이 있으세요?
아, 고기 잡는 걸요?
네.
아이고, 그만 몸에 체력 받는 때까지 해야지.
힘이 있을 때까지, 고기를 쫓아가서 잡을 때까지.
This is of a sweet fish fisherman that I was able to document him and his two colleagues as they went down the river doing this incredible handheld fishing with lightning fast coordination between hand and eye. It was really quite remarkable to watch them. And so one of the things that I learned from them is that they felt that their children were not going to be taking over or were not going to do the same thing that they were doing. They considered themselves basically the last sweet fishermen or sweet fish fishermen of the river. And so I think that with that kind of knowledge, when looking at this photograph and his eyes and his intensity and so on, I kind of get that feeling from this. Wow, look at the sky, it's amazing.
Oh yes. So this is a river, and then that island, from that island, it's seaside. So this is a place where river meets sea. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So do you consider this the end of the river or the beginning of the river?
It could be end of a river. Also, it's, at the same time, it could be beginning of the river.
Well?
Yeah. So.
Which do you prefer?
I prefer beginning of a river.
Beginning of the river.
What about you?
I prefer the end of the river. Beginning of the sea.
Beginning of the sea?
Yeah.
Ron and Truth boarded a ship to get a closer look at the beginning and the end, where the river becomes the sea, and the sea becomes the river. The weather is unpredictable. The overcast sky blends with the gray sea to create a quaint spectacle.
바다가 시작되는 거. 여기가 선진강 220km의 마지막 종점이자 시작이에요. 또 예전에 여기가 별도 해수욕장이었어요. 모래가 많이 이제 있을 때 사람들이 이제 전국에서 많이 왔어요. 지금은 이제 해변 공원으로 해가지고 공원을 만들어놨어요.
This is both the end of the river and the beginning of the sea. The end is not really an end, but a new beginning. And a beginning invariably accompanies anticipation. The vast sea is quite different from the unassuming and familiar SeomJin River. Ron captures the scenery for the last time and stores his trip in his memories.
So So we are now at the sea. It's really best weather for sailing.
Perfect boating weather.
Yeah.
Lovely.
You can see that, the container and port. That's one of the main ports in Korea. To export some items like cars and,
So we're at the end of our journey.
Yes.
All right.
Steadily.
The river has brought us to the end.
Yeah.
Or the beginning, we can do a sea journey as well.
Right.
But it's quite an impressive port operation here.
Oh yes.
This image is also from the time when we were on the boat, and one of the things that I've noticed in a lot of different locations that we've been to in South Korea was that the flag is always very prominent. So even though it's typical to have a country flag on the back of the boat, I thought that this was a good sort of indication both of the nationalism and pride that exists here, as well as this is seen from a very important port in South Korea. So I thought that aesthetically plus the content was a good combination.
The river, with 1,000 faces, will merge with the sea to create another basis for livelihood. Ron and Truth will also wrap up their travel and get ready for another life's journey.
The lovely weather, I feel like I'm in the air. So, how's your feeling? The trip along the river?
I thought the river was a great way to explore the countryside. We met some super interesting people. I was really impressed, certainly with the elder generation.
Yeah.
How so many of them are still energized and working and look amazing and are really seem to be enjoying their lives. So it was also very interesting when we asked them if their children were going to follow in their footsteps, and all of them said no.
Yes.
And that they thought that they were the last ones to do this.
That was so sad to me.
You think it's sad?
Yeah.
I think it's sad to a degree. I mean, it's the nature of the world. I mean, things change. I think that it also shows one of the benefits and beauties of photography. It's why we do what we do, because we're documenting this, and even though maybe they won't be around and there won't be anybody replacing them, there still will be a document of the way that they work and a little bit of their lives.
And did you enjoy the trip with me?
I thought we were a good pair. I think that your ability to engage with people was extremely helpful for me. And I was able to really learn not only from you, but also from the people that you were able to talk with. And so that was super helpful. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The river flows tirelessly, carrying innumerable stories with it. The river has flowed for eons, providing the foundations of life to some and romantic memories to others. Ron Haviv has been to numerous battlefields to document life's horrors and hopelessness, having to fight a deep sense of loneliness. But as he traveled slowly along the river and met with warm-hearted people, he created happy memories that will grace one chapter of his life. The river flows leisurely, carrying that memory deep within it.
You wanna say no?